There's a power so quiet it's mistaken for absence, a strength so profound it's labeled as dangerous. Society whispers about the man who operates on a different frequency, the one whose silence is louder than their words. They watch him navigate the world, not with the brute force of an alpha, but with the chilling precision of a master strategist, and they cannot look away. Welcome to the Sigma male community, the one place that doesn't just observe this phenomenon, but understands it from the inside out, because here we don't just admire the lone wolf, we walk his path. Today we dissect the very traits that make you a paradox. The qualities that are not just weirdly attractive but dangerously potent in a world unprepared for your depth. We will explore the fine line between your greatest assets and your most profound liabilities, because true mastery lies not in just possessing these traits, but in wielding them with conscious, formidable intelligence. 1. The Iceberg Calm. Your tranquility is a weapon, a shield, and a mystery all at once. When chaos erupts, when others descend into panic and emotional disarray, you exhibit an unnerving stillness that seems to defy human nature. This isn't the coldness of indifference. It is the product of immense internal processing, a glacial control that has been forged in the crucible of past storms. You absorb the pandemonium, analyze it within the silent fortress of your mind, and project an external calm that commands entire rooms. It's the stillness of a deep-sea submersible, operating with focused precision under pressures that would crush lesser vessels. This profound composure unsettles the unprepared and draws the admiration of those who recognize true strength, making your presence a silent anchor in any storm. Yet, the very mechanism that grants you this power is also the architect of your isolation. This emotional refrigeration doesn't just chill your reactions to external events. It has the dangerous potential to frost over the essential pathways to genuine human warmth and connection. People, observing your impenetrable calm, eventually stop trying to reach the man behind the stoic mask, misinterpreting your depth as an unbridgeable void. Your greatest strength, the very core of your resilience, risks becoming a beautifully crafted, solitary confinement. The peace you project to the world can, if left unexamined, become the very reason you experience true peace so rarely with another soul, trapping you in a prison of your own magnificent solitude. 2. The self-contained fortress. You have moved beyond mere independence. You have engineered an entirely self-sustaining ecosystem of being. The ethos is simple and absolute. Need nothing, ask for nothing, and therefore own nothing. This is your ultimate declaration of personal sovereignty, a testament to a resilience so profound it becomes almost mythological to outsiders. While others form pacts and alliances out of necessity, you thrive where they falter, demonstrating that the lone wolf is not a symbol of loneliness, but of a different, more demanding kind of strength. Your ability to solve your own problems, to bear your own burdens, and to navigate life's complexities without a crutch is not just admirable. It is a core component of your identity and your power. However, the cost of maintaining such an impregnable fortress is paid in the currency of connection. The drawbridge, perpetually raised against reliance on others, eventually rusts shut. True vulnerability, the messy, chaotic, yet utterly essential ingredient for profound, lasting bonds, becomes a foreign concept, a language you have forgotten how to speak. You survive, and you may even achieve magnificent things, but the rich tapestry of shared struggle, the unexpected grace found in leaning on another trusted individual, and the strength that comes from collaborative victory can wither unseen behind your impeccably maintained walls. The fortress that guarantees your survival may simultaneously prevent you from truly living. 3. The Rulebook Incinerator. You see the world differently. Where most people see rigid structures and inviolable rules, you see scaffolding, temporary, often flimsy constructs put in place by the mediocre for the masses. Your brilliance lies in this perception, in your innate ability to discern the underlying principles from the superficial regulations. You don't just bend the rules, you operate on a higher, more refined logic that exposes their inherent weaknesses. This mindset terrifies the bureaucratic and inspires the visionary. It's a raw, disruptive energy that sees conventional paths as inefficient detours, choosing instead to blaze a trail directly toward the objective, unburdened by the weight of accepted procedure. But you must beware the unchecked flame of this defiant spirit. When every external guideline is dismissed as a symptom of weakness, you risk the profound arrogance of becoming your own blind god, deaf to counsel and immune to critique. Alliances, if they form at all, become purely transactional, and valuable feedback is filtered out as irrelevant noise. Without the essential friction of constructive challenge, the sharp edge of your intellect can dull. You can find yourself powerful but untethered, drifting in a sea of your own making, mistaking the solitude of the outcast for the supremacy of the king as the bridges you could have crossed smolder in your wake. 4. The Silent Polygraph. Your perception is not merely sharp. It is a surgical instrument, capable of dissecting subtext and intention with terrifying accuracy. You don't just listen to words, you feel their vibrations, sensing the subtle tremor in a confident boast or seeing the almost imperceptible flicker of deceit behind a carefully practiced smile. This instinct is your psychic armor, a sophisticated internal radar forged in the fires of past betrayals and disappointments. It is constantly scanning, perpetually assessing, seeking out the subtle tells of insincerity and hidden agendas, protecting you from threats that take human form long before they can strike. The corrosive side effect of this constant vigilance is the slow poisoning of the well of trust. When your mind is conditioned to perpetually scan for deceit, genuine offers can feel like elaborate traps, and acts of kindness can seem to mask ulterior motives. You construct labyrinthine defenses against potential harm, but these barricades are indiscriminate. They also wall you off from the possibility of authentic love, unwavering loyalty, and true camaraderie. Your greatest gift of perception risks becoming a self-inflicted curse, trapping you in a self-made panopticon where every person is a suspect and every interaction is an interrogation, ensuring your safety at the cost of your connection. 5. The Flaw Magnifier. You don't just see people, you X-ray them, bypassing the curated exterior to perceive the intricate, often flawed framework beneath. Micro-expressions, subtle shifts in vocal tone, subconscious gestures. These are not trivial details to you. They are data points that paint a vivid and often unflattering portrait of a person's fears, insecurities, and weaknesses before they have even spoken a complete sentence. This hyperobservance is a profound strategic advantage in a world full of posturing and pretense. It allows you to anticipate actions, understand hidden motivations, and engage in a preemptive strike against the vulnerability of being caught unaware. This constant analysis, however, casts a long and persistent shadow of anticipatory anxiety. By perpetually predicting failure, mapping out potential disappointments, and bracing for betrayal based on the perceived flaws in others, you can inadvertently sabotage connections before they ever have a chance to bloom. Relationships cease to be organic bonds and instead become meticulous risk assessments. You remain safe, impeccably controlled, and the master strategist of a battlefield you have cleared yourself. The tragic victory is that you stand alone, shielded from harm but also insulated from the warmth of imperfect, genuine human connection. Let's cut the mystique right here, right now. You feel this, don't you? The weight of that silent calibration, the exhausting self-reliance, the suspicion that flickers even towards warmth. This isn't abstract psychology, it's the lived reality humming beneath your ribs. That very intensity drawing people in? It's the same force pushing them away when left unchecked. You're not broken. But the traits that make you formidable can become your cage if you refuse to see the bars. Mastery isn't just wielding your power, it's knowing when the armor needs a chink to let real connection breathe. The path forward demands more courage than solitude ever did. 6. The Calculated Detonation. Beneath the placid surface of your calm demeanor simmers a potent, directed, and highly concentrated force. This is not the wild, indiscriminate inferno of rage. It is strategic intensity, a resource to be deployed with precision. It manifests as the sudden, focused eruption that shatters complacency, the single, perfectly timed statement that cuts through the noise and reshapes the narrative. When you finally choose to act, to speak with the full weight of your conviction, it carries a seismic impact. The silence that follows is more profound than the noise that came before. It is the calm before a controlled demolition, a demonstration of power so effective because it is so rarely used. The danger here lies not in the volatility itself, but in its precision. This isn't uncontrolled anger, it is a weaponized reserve of energy. When used sparingly and with just cause, it commands awe and deep-seated respect. However, if overused, misdirected, or deployed to intimidate rather than to clarify, it breeds a pervasive atmosphere of fear. Trust, a foundation that takes years to build, can be eroded in moments. People will begin to navigate around you on eggshells, treating you not as a person with whom to connect, but as a potential hazard to be managed. The respect you rightfully crave curdles into wary, resentful compliance. 7. The magnetic void. Your silence is never empty. It is a gravitational field, a vacuum that pulls focus, intrigues, and unnerves in equal measure. In a world saturated with noise and desperate chatter, your quiet presence is a blank canvas onto which people project their own anxieties, their hidden fantasies, and their deepest fears. Are you judging them? Are you plotting your next move? Or have you ascended to a plane of thought they cannot comprehend? This ambiguity is a potent form of power, an unspoken challenge that both intimidates and fascinates those around you, forcing them to confront their own insecurities in your stillness. Yet, this same void can consume the very possibility of connection. While others chatter to be seen and understood, your silence can become an impenetrable wall, a signal that you are unreachable. Opportunities for genuine exchange, for the simple, beautiful act of being known, die in that vacuum. People eventually stop trying to understand the real you, settling instead for the myth they have constructed in your absence. Your greatest mystique, the very thing that makes you so compelling from a distance, can become the source of your deepest, most profound loneliness, admired from afar but fundamentally untouched and unknown within. 8. The unseen architect. The same powerful skill you use to map the weaknesses and motivations of others is inevitably, and often ruthlessly, turned inward. You dissect your own flaws, your own missteps, and your own vulnerabilities with a brutal, surgical precision that few could endure. This is not the weakness of self-loathing. It is the discipline of relentless optimization. You see every chink in your own armor, you anticipate every potential failure point, and you use this unflinching self-awareness to drive an almost superhuman level of discipline and self-improvement. You are your own harshest critic and most demanding coach. Within this relentless internal audit lies the trap of perpetual beta. The fear of imperfection, the anxiety of not being optimized enough, can lead to a state of chronic paralysis. You become the master architect who is forever revising the blueprints but never breaking ground on the building. The pursuit of an unattainable, flawless ideal becomes a prison of your own meticulous design, stifling the very growth and real-world experience you seek. The danger is not in seeing your flaws, but in allowing the fear of those flaws to prevent you from taking bold, decisive, and beautifully imperfect action in the world. 9. The Emotional Alchemist. It is a profound misunderstanding to think that you lack feeling. The reality is far more complex and powerful. You are an alchemist who transmutes the raw, chaotic ore of emotion into something focused, durable, and useful. Pain is not simply endured, it is transformed into fuel for discipline. Passion is not scattered to the wind, it is channeled into a relentless, singular focus. Anger, frustration, and even joy are not ignored, but are instead subjected to an internal process that converts them into stoic resolve, strategic insight, and actionable will. This emotional alchemy is your hidden superpower, allowing you to operate with clarity and purpose when others are swept away by the tide. The inherent danger of spending all your time in the crucible, however, is that constant transmutation can risk severing your connection to the raw human experience itself. When every emotion is immediately processed and converted, joy can lose its spontaneous sparkle, sorrow can lose its cleansing depth, and love can lose its wild, untamed beauty. You risk becoming terrifyingly efficient but emotionally hollow, mistaking a state of functional numbness for true stoic mastery. The very alchemy that is meant to strengthen and empower you can, if not balanced with acceptance, slowly drain the vibrant color from your existence, leaving behind a powerful but starkly monochrome life. 10. The Sovereign's Burden. To be truly and utterly self-sufficient is to wear a crown, but that crown is heavier than most could ever imagine. Every decision, every risk, and every consequence rests solely and squarely on your shoulders. You voluntarily bear the weight that others instinctively distribute amongst a group, and you find a grim, private satisfaction in the sheer effort of it all. This constant burden is not a complaint, it is your proof of capability. It is the defining mark of your sovereignty, the tangible evidence that you are the master of your own fate and the captain of your own soul. This crown, however, crushes connection. Your steadfast refusal of aid is not just a statement of your own pride. It inadvertently denies others the dignity of contribution and the gift of shared experience. Burdens that are shared between trusted individuals build powerful bonds of loyalty and mutual respect. Burdens carried in complete solitude build monuments to isolation. The immense weight you carry alone will undoubtedly forge a formidable resilience, but it will just as surely forge an unbridgeable distance between you and others. True, evolved strength is not just the ability to carry the world alone, but the wisdom to recognize when sharing the load is a different, more profound kind of power. 11. The Untamed Frequency. Ultimately, the single most dangerous and alluring trait you possess is not found in any one of these points, but in their potent synergy. It is your raw, unfiltered operational frequency. You simply vibrate on a different wavelength from the rest of the world. You have rejected the low, constant hum of the herd and instead operate on a frequency that is at once unsettling, intensely focused, and utterly captivating. It is the holistic combination of your strategic silence, your penetrating observation, your fierce independence, and your controlled internal force that creates this effect. You are a walking paradox, deeply engaged with reality yet emotionally detached, powerfully present in a room yet enigmatically distant. This is precisely why it is so dangerously attractive. Your frequency is a disruption to the mundane, a stark contrast to the shallow, curated lives so many people lead. To them, you promise depth, a thrilling authenticity, and an unpredictability that feels like a taste of something primal and real. People crave that intensity, they are drawn to the feeling of touching something genuine. But like staring directly at the sun, prolonged exposure reveals the inherent danger, the potential for emotional scorching, the immense risk of isolation, and the sheer, unyielding force of a being who is, at their very core, fundamentally and beautifully untamed. Your very nature draws them in even as it silently warns them away. This isn't about changing your core. It's about wielding your formidable traits with conscious precision. Understand their power, respect their edge, and never forget that even the most self-contained constellation needs others to truly appreciate its light. Ignoring these dynamics? That's the real danger. The journey of the Sigma is not about achieving a state of perfect, isolated strength. It's about mastering the profound art of being a force of nature who can still choose to build, connect, and evolve. This is the path we walk here at the Sigma Male community, and it's a path that demands more than just strength. It demands wisdom. If this resonated with you, if you felt the truth of these words in your own experience, then your journey of mastery is already underway. Don't let this be a moment of passive consumption. Let it be a catalyst. Acknowledge this video with a like to signal your understanding. Share it with the one other man you know who navigates the same complex path. In the comments below, share which of these traits you wrestle with the most, not as a weakness but as a point of conscious cultivation. And if you haven't already, subscribe and activate the notification bell, because our work here is far from over. This is not just a channel, it is an arsenal for the mind and a forge for the will. Stay sharp. Stay human.